Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang.
And I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Tonight, Facebook under fire.
They're paying for their profits right now with our safety.
Scathing allegations and calls for change.
Your time of invading our privacy is over.
Lawmakers agree it is time to regulate Facebook, but how?
Rapid COVID tests are coming to more schools, but who should be tested?
The day the music stopped, what happened to Afghanistan's renowned all-women's orchestra when the Taliban seized power?
This is my weapon, you know? Taliban are having their weapon, but this is my weapon.
And shooting stars into orbit, how Russia won the latest space race. This is The National. Well, the message for U.S. lawmakers today was crystal clear. Facebook's products can be dangerous, divisive, and toxic.
And according to former Facebook insider turned whistleblower Frances Haugen, the social media giant knows it. She is now calling on Washington to intervene.
There's one thing that I hope everyone takes away from these disclosures. It is that Facebook can change, but is clearly not going to do so on its own.
But it's not just Facebook's power to influence billions of people that is alarming so many this week. Yesterday's massive outage reveals the stunning scale of its operations, with the many who rely on Facebook products to communicate or do business left completely disconnected. So we'll take a closer look at just how far Facebook's reach has grown in a moment, and we will weigh possible solutions. But first, Katie Simpson with today's damning testimony before the U.S. Senate panel in Washington.
Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen arrived on Capitol Hill with a blunt message. Unless lawmakers force the tech giant to change how it operates, democracy, public safety, and the mental health of young users all remain at risk.
The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people.
Haugen clearly outlined concrete steps to rein in Facebook, including creating a new regulatory agency to increase oversight and to require Facebook to disclose internal research. Haugen claimed Facebook uses addictive algorithms and that the company has done secret experiments showing vulnerable users can be led to content promoting anorexia, while it also found some teen girls experience an increase in body image problems while using Instagram.
It's just like cigarettes. Teenagers don't have good self-regulation. They say explicitly, I feel bad when I use Instagram, and yet I can't stop.
Facebook accuses Haugen of mischaracterizing the research and downplayed concern about young users having a negative social media experience.
These were teens who were already struggling with mental health issues. And on all of the issues, the majority of boys and girls said that Instagram either makes things better or doesn't have a material impact on their experience.
Big tech now faces that big tobacco jaw-dropping moment of truth.
Democrats and Republicans at today's hearing were uncharacteristically united.
You and I ought to resolve our differences and introduce legislation. So, as Senator Thune said, let's go to work.
Our differences seem very minor in the face of the revelations that we've now seen.
And they delivered a blunt warning of their own to Facebook's CEO.
Your time of invading our privacy, promoting toxic content, and preying on children and teens is over.
So, Katie, in some ways, this is familiar. Lawmakers have promised to rein in Facebook before. What makes this different?
The political will has never been stronger, Adrienne. There is a widespread recognition that the status quo is not acceptable. And lawmakers are finally starting to learn more about how Facebook operates. Much of what the company does is done in secret, so coming up with concrete solutions can be difficult. Today's testimony, Adrienne, could change that.
All right, it's a beginning. Katie Simpson in Washington. Thank you, Katie.
Now, for the millions who rely on Facebook and its products to communicate and to do business, regulation may not be nearly as important as simple function, especially when services suddenly crash. Yesterday's global outage affected a lot of people, and as Thomas Daigle shows us, some are still dealing with the fallout.
A a solemn occasion disrupted in an unlikely way. As groups gathered to mark a day of action, including for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, the Native Women's Association of Canada had to postpone a vigil planned as a Facebook live stream when the platform went offline.
It was really heavy on my heart because I thought I was disappointing all of the families who were going to be there. And that was the least that I ever wanted to happen.
Every day, nearly 3 billion people log on to at least one of Facebook's services. For many users, the 6-hour outage was a welcome reprieve from those addictive apps, but not for everyone.
It definitely put me in a bit of a panic.
Holly Rockburn and Jenna Parks import antiques from France to sell mainly on their Instagram page. Their business relies on those pictures appearing where users are already scrolling.
We don't really have an alternative. We just kind of have to roll with the punches if something like this should happen again. But it is a bit scary.
In countries where WhatsApp is cheaper than a call or text, the sudden loss of that lifeline can prove dangerous. A surgeon in Mumbai tweeting, "A CT scan couldn't be shared. How were patients managed decades ago?"
There is a movement for decentralized social media platforms where it isn't just one company who controls who can post and what gets taken down, and I think that that is very promising.
The source of the meltdown? A technical update that cut communication between Facebook's data centers. One small mistake that highlights the global reach of one company.
There have long been calls for Facebook to be broken up, and that could have lessened the scale of the disruption. But so far, the company hasn't been forced to split up, and it's not offering. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
And later in the program, we're going to take a closer look at the idea of regulating Facebook with Facebook employee turned whistleblower Sophie Jung and media and public policy expert Joan Donovan. That's in about 20 minutes' time.
Turning to the pandemic, New Brunswick is taking some dramatic action, announcing circuit breaker measures that include reducing gatherings province-wide to single families for Thanksgiving weekend.
I appreciate this weekend's going to be tough for my family. It's going to be tough for many families.
The announcement comes as numbers continue to climb. Average daily new cases approaching 100 a day. Of even more concern, hospitalized COVID patients hit 50. Almost half of those are in the ICU, and the hospitals are already struggling.
Being able to maintain the same level of services that we had before this surge, not possible. So we're definitely at that point, and that's why we're putting the measures in place now.
Other measures persist for 2 weeks in hotspots like the Moncton and Edmundston areas, where non-essential travel in and out will be restricted, and gatherings continue to be limited to one household. But schools stay open, and businesses too, for patrons with proof of vaccination.
Now, Alberta has absorbed the full force of the fourth wave, a province with 1/8 of Canada's population and about half of the country's hospitalized COVID patients. But for the moment, there's a break in the storm. Average daily new cases in Alberta have been stable, even declined a bit since mid-September. The number of hospitalizations, extreme but steady at 1,100 patients or less for almost 2 weeks. And in around the same time frame, average daily vaccinations in the province saw a big bump after lagging for weeks. But the province continues to grapple with crisis, and many infections are being found in kids who can't be vaccinated. Other provinces have introduced measures this week to keep COVID out of classrooms, and as Julia Wong shows us, Alberta is now following suit.
9-year-old Raven was excited to go back to school this fall, but for her mother, anxiety was building. Kids started getting sick in Raven's Edmonton school, so her mom pulled her from in-person learning. That same day, Raven started showing symptoms. She tested positive for COVID-19.
The anger started hitting.
Days later, her school forced to shut down for 2 weeks. The province had only been contact tracing in so-called high-risk areas like hospitals and continuing care, not in schools.
If the kids in that classroom and the teacher in that classroom had been notified and had isolated, then it wouldn't have spread through the school.
But that is changing.
We are announcing new measures today to help to slow and prevent transmission at schools.
The province will ramp up rapid testing, publicly report outbreaks again, and bring back contact tracing, a move the Alberta Teachers Association says is too little, too late.
Schools have been flying blind essentially since school started in September.
The return of tracing should lower case counts, but that may not relieve stress on the hospital system, says this pediatric infectious disease physician.
Not at all clear whether the majority of those people were exposed to children who acquired COVID in schools.
As for Hill, she's upset her family is in this situation in the first place.
Because this just didn't have to happen.
She and her husband also tested positive. Both were fully vaccinated. They will be out of quarantine next Monday, just in time for Raven to go back to school after Thanksgiving. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
So Alberta is expanding rapid COVID testing of asymptomatic students. It joins a growing list of provinces handing out the kits, including today, Ontario. But as Deanna Sumnek-Johnson shows us, which kids get the test depends on where you live.
Kate Dupuy only has about a week's worth of rapid COVID tests left to give out to families at her kids' school. Last week, she was among the parents who got and distributed these tests themselves. Now, the Ontario government is stepping in.
It's an important first step. I really do feel like all these parents' voices coming together, it made a difference, and that makes me really happy and proud.
Dupuy's kids' school is unlikely to get the tests for now. They will only be sent to schools in high transmission rate areas. Tests will be voluntary and done at home by parents.
Rapid antigen screening will be used only for unvaccinated, asymptomatic students and children.
Most experts agree rapid tests should be used as an additional tool to keep schools safe. But which kids should be tested, how often, and by whom is a matter of some debate. In Nova Scotia, 80,000 take-home rapid testing kits will be available to families of children too young to be vaccinated. In Quebec, rapid testing has just been expanded to elementary schools in all regions. Tests will be done by school staff only on students who develop symptoms during the day. Not quite enough for this father.
I would definitely like a systematic approach to the rapid testing to be done at home twice weekly, so that children we can detect prior to them coming to school.
But this pediatric infectious diseases specialist says testing students without symptoms might not be a useful exercise. She led a pilot project back in January that did just that.
We didn't find that many that were positive, but the energy and the human resources it takes to actually find that case was out of this world.
With almost 1/5 of Ontario schools now reporting a COVID case, parents are waiting to see if their kids' school will receive the rapid tests. Deanna Sumnek-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
And a final COVID-19 note, CBC News has learned that tomorrow, Ottawa will unveil details of its vaccine mandate for federal public servants. It will also announce a vaccination requirement for some international and domestic travelers.
Well, to Quebec now, in a strong statement about the death of an Indigenous woman in hospital, a coroner says if Joyce Echaquan had been white, she'd still be alive today. Alison Northcott has reaction from Echaquan's family and from Quebec's premier, who is refusing to accept one of the coroner's key recommendations.
Joyce Echaquan's husband, Carole Dubé, says his family's healing will come with the truth.
Aujourd'hui, une petite de cette vérité voit enfin le jour.
It's been a year since Echaquan filmed herself while in hospital as staff insulted her with racist remarks.
Un héritage extrêmement important.
Coroner Jeanne Kamel says it sent shockwaves through the province. Now,
On est dans une preuve réelle.
she says we have real proof the system failed. Kamel's report found racism and prejudice contributed to her death, that Echaquan was quickly and mistakenly labeled a drug addict by hospital staff. Her cries for help were not taken seriously, and she didn't get the care she should have. The coroner's first recommendation is for the province to recognize systemic racism exists in Quebec.
Pourquoi c'est écrit noir sur blanc?
Kamel says the reason it's written in black and white in her report
C'est parce que dans le cas de Madame Echaquan,
is because in the case of Echaquan, she says it's exactly what happened. But Premier François Legault continues to push back against that, acknowledging Echaquan faced racism, prejudice, and discrimination, but denying it's systemic.
We don't have a system, top to bottom, and it's a question of fact. That's it, that's all.
We're put aside. We were not really listened to for
how many years, how many decades. We try to propose something, but there's always this paternalism.
For Echaquan's family, her parents, husband, and children, the inquiry was difficult. Dubé says his wife died because she was Indigenous. But he says seeing in this report proof of what they knew in their hearts is a small comfort. The family's fight for justice isn't over yet. Their lawyer says they plan to file a civil suit and a complaint with Quebec's Human Rights Commission. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Trois-Rivières, Quebec.
In France, a report on sexual abuse within the Catholic Church has hit like an earthquake. Not only does it estimate 330,000 victims abused by clergy and others over the course of decades, but as Megan Williams explains, the report also documents a culture in the church of indifference and cover-ups.
L'Église catholique, c'est une grande famille spirituelle.
Olivier Savignac was sexually abused by a French priest when he was 13.
Oui, c'est un ouragan, et oui, c'est un tsunami.
He calls the report released today a tsunami, so damning it can't be denied. More than 300,000 French children like him were abused by the Catholic Church, the report estimates, 2/3 by priests.
Les violences sexuelles dans l'Église catholique.
The head of the commission who wrote the report says abuse has declined in the past 20 years, but he says sexual violence in the Catholic Church is not a thing of the past.
Les victimes des laïcs en mission d'église.
The 2,500-page report includes damning evidence from church, court, and police archives, as well as interviews with witnesses, like this other priest sex abuse survivor.
Il n'y a aucune culture
who calls the Catholic Church an organization of concealment of crimes against children.
Donc le pardon que je le demande de tout mon cœur.
The head of France's bishops offers an apology on behalf of his church, which he says needs to be purified. The report calls for the training of clerics on how to prevent abuse and policies that recognize victims and offer financial compensation. The French Church says it's committed to deep reform. Savignac says compensation isn't about sweeping the issue away, but reflecting the level of suffering he and others faced.
Nobody here at the Vatican would give any interviews today, but the Vatican did release a statement. It said Pope Francis was pained by the contents of the report and that his first thoughts went to the victims. But those who have been devastated by this sexual abuse within the Catholic Church say they're tired of the talk. They want action and they want change. Megan Williams, CBC News, the Vatican.
In Ottawa, Conservative MPs gathered for their first caucus meeting since the election, a day of reckoning for party leader Erin O'Toole, as MPs voted on a measure that could eventually lead to his removal. Hannah Thibodeau shows us how it all played out.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Entering his first caucus meeting since the election, Erin O'Toole appeared confident. By this afternoon, he seemed optimistic about the future.
Our caucus is fully united, and we're ready to get to work to fight for Canadians.
But O'Toole still could face a leadership fight. Caucus voted in favor of a measure that would give them the power to fire O'Toole if enough MPs request it. He says he won't let that threat get in his way.
This is not about a sword of Damocles hanging over my head. We're united as a team.
There was very little overt grumbling over his leadership.
I'm 100% behind Erin.
Yes, Mr. O'Toole is the right man for the job, 100%.
I fully support Mr. O'Toole.
But not everyone is happy. Some are calling for a leadership review, not in front of caucus, but Conservative Party members. And soon. This Alberta MP says it should happen in the next 6 months, not when it's scheduled in 2023.
We lost by every measure, every metric, in every city, across every major group.
That resentment brewing, blaming the leader for moving the party too far to the left during the election.
I believe there needs to be an accounting on how it is that we are going to maintain Conservative voters, maintain confidence among Conservative voters and supporters.
After the loss, O'Toole announced a campaign review to find out what went wrong and make sure the party is ready for the next one. But before the work even started, he shared his own theory.
The simple reason for why that happened was Mr. Trudeau used the pandemic to divide Canadians. We did not.
The campaign review will be led by James Cumming, one of 3 incumbent Conservative MPs who lost their seats in Alberta. The review is expected to be done by the end of the year, but O'Toole would not say whether it will be made public. Hannah Thibodeau, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, we have surprising new details tonight into the offshore tax havens sheltering the fortunes of famous Canadians. Up next, an international investigation reveals Olympic medalist Elvis Stojko saved his money somewhere else. Plus,
a beautiful sound made by a unique orchestra now silenced by the Taliban.
and Russia blasts off to make a movie, beating the Americans in a 21st century space race. We're back in 2.
We have an update on a story we brought you last night. A high-ranking Canadian military officer is no longer working on sexual misconduct reviews. Major General Peter Daw was placed on leave with pay earlier this year after writing a positive character reference for the sentencing of a soldier convicted of sexual assault. Then he was assigned a role in the military's effort to deal with sexual misconduct. Well, tonight he was relieved of that duty. The department has issued a statement of apology for the lack of transparency.
Well, we have new information tonight from millions of leaked files known as the Pandora Papers. Documents that open up a window into the legal loopholes the rich use to shelter their cash from taxes. The documents were revealed by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, which includes the CBC. Among the names in the documents, Canadian figure skating hero Elvis Stojko. Jonathan Gatehouse takes it from there.
Elvis Stojko earned a reputation for leaving it all on the ice, winning 3 world championships, a pair of Olympic silver medals, and making Canadians proud. After his competitive career ended in the early 2000s, Stojko retired to Mexico, and some of his Canadian assets left too, destined for an offshore trust in Belize. Leaked documents detail how Stojko established the Quad Trust in 2007, naming it after his signature jump, transferring ownership of a life insurance policy and investment account worth up to $6.5 million, all with the help of Skate Canada, an organization that receives millions in government funds each year. Stojko's then lawyer stressed the need for secrecy, demanding trust records be kept in complete discretion and confidence, not open to any inspection whatsoever. There's no evidence of any wrongdoing by Stojko, and Belize's lack of transparency could have been a positive, says this tax expert.
You are going to be able to protect your assets from Canadian family law, from litigation against you in Canada that may or may not be deserved, people just trying to shake the money tree.
Stojko, who returned home to Canada a decade ago, declined an interview, but he did answer written questions, telling CBC News he was only vaguely aware of the arrangement. When my longtime lawyer recommended that I set up a trust, I did not question his advice. Anthony Malcolm, his late Montreal lawyer, was a tax haven specialist. Stojko describes him as a second father, a comfort as he grappled with the end of his Olympic gold dreams. At that point I was at my lowest, Stojko wrote. Mr. Malcolm looked after all financial matters, since it was a point of pain for me, since it was attached to my skating failure. But some questions remain. Skate Canada transferred the assets from its own Skaters Trust Fund to Belize. Yet the transaction doesn't appear to have been accounted for in financial statements filed with the Canada Revenue Agency. The organization and its former CEO, William Thompson, declined interviews, Thompson saying only that he was obliged to do what Stojko asked, while the current leadership of Skate Canada maintain they have nothing valuable to add. Jonathan Gatehouse, CBC News, Toronto.
Next on The National, a groundbreaking orchestra in Afghanistan silenced. We hear from musicians from an all-female orchestra worried Taliban rule will mean the end of music. Welcome back. As Afghanistan faces a difficult new reality under Taliban rule, many Afghans are facing impossible choices. For example, try to leave a beloved homeland or stay and try to keep safe. We will have continuing coverage from our CBC News team in the region in coming days. But tonight, a story of the heartbreak and resilience of one of Afghanistan's most precious jewels, an all-female orchestra created at a time when peace and hope seemed within reach.
There they were a few years ago, invited to perform at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. A heady moment and a dream realized for Zora, Afghanistan's first all-women's orchestra. From those so thrilled to be there then, a message for you now. Listen to them. Remember these smiles and sounds, because this is the Afghanistan they want you to know. Not this one. When the Taliban took over this summer, the cacophony of violence and chaos silenced all the sweet notes, especially here. The famed music school, built in 2010 as a place of promise for those emerging from life under the Taliban's grip. For young women in particular, it was a refuge. Now the girls are gone. Taliban fighters infest those colorful halls. It's become a militia base, armed men lurking in treasured spaces where music education once meant wings.
Today, the performance of this young musician clearly demonstrated how easily music can be understood by every single man and woman of this planet.
Building, then nurturing the school was Dr. Ahmed Sarmas's purpose in life.
This orchestra for me always was as a symbol of freedom, symbol of emancipation of women.
He is now, though, stuck, looking on from afar, in Australia when we spoke. Got there in the summer for medical treatment, unable to go back since he spends days and nights checking on his students.
We've been fully in the process of getting our students to a safety and security. I advise them to delete all the messages, deactivate their Facebooks, do not connect with friends outside Afghanistan.
Some have gone into hiding. Others, like conductor Zarifa Adiba, had left a few years earlier to go to university abroad. Her friends, family back in Afghanistan, while she sits in Kyrgyzstan. And it haunts. Their text messages are hard to take.
I don't have quite good words to describe how these days and nights are passing.
I suppose there's a difference between existing and living.
Exactly. Like everything is just like a movie, like a horror movie that is going on, you know? So I see my friends, they are breaking their instruments. They're breaking it before Taliban get to them, you know? So for them, I don't think that music is at the moment their comfort, but it's more of a risk for them.
Music once filled the mountains and valleys and streets and souls of Afghans. Decades ago, when the Taliban took control, they banned it. And now that they're back in charge, public performances are once more outlawed. The Afghan folk singer Fawad Andarbi was pulled from his home and killed by the Taliban not long ago. Imagine the chill that sends to the young women of Zora, alternately afraid of and cherishing the power of music.
Music has always been my friend, has always been my comfort, even especially in times like this that I feel hopeless, I feel tired, I feel scared.
As conductor, Zarifa was a leader, working with, learning with the likes of pianist Maram Ati. She moved to the music school as a teen, worked with Dr. Sarmas for years, touring with Zora. Then a few days before Kabul fell, she left for university in Michigan to study piano. Her heart clearly still at home and with friends now asking for help and advice.
I just told them that don't tell anyone, don't play if someone or the neighbor could hear a piano playing or something, just don't touch it.
And be careful. She sadly urges those back in Afghanistan not to fight too hard to save the music.
Fighting now is not a good idea. If someone just stood up and fight for music, you cannot do that right now. But I think all of this 20 years of hard work, it cannot go to waste like that. So maybe in the future, I believe that someone or people will just start from the beginning again.
That is for the future. This moment is for surviving. Dr. Sarmast has been helping his students as best as he possibly can. A few, like Mara, managed to leave a few days before the Taliban takeover. Getting others out now is exhausting and stressful. And for the women, dreams waver between trying to hold the memory of the togetherness they once had, the bold performances of traditional songs, and hoping to somewhere, someday, let the music's power speak again.
Every note talks to me and tells me that Zarifa, don't give up. Zarifa, play more, play louder. At the same time that my violin is peaceful, comforting, and beautiful, at the same time, it is so powerful and so strong and so rebellious, you know?
Zarifa's new life includes this new violin.
Beautiful.
Bought with help from supporters. She was just starting to get acquainted with it.
This is going to be my weapon, you know? Taliban are having their weapon, but this is my weapon. I will talk to you guys with this.
The Taliban scattered and silenced the orchestra, but the spirit of Zora lives, and the women promise they will be heard again.
Wow, that's quite a story, Adrienne. So what's happening with those women now?
Well, some are still trying to get out. More than get out, get to a place where they can pursue their music. As you can imagine, though, you know, it's all very complicated when you're faced with leaving your family and your friends behind. And we know that the Taliban continues to offer, you know, assurances about their human rights, even as the women see those rights being stripped away. And so the plan for us, journalistically, is that Susan Ormiston and the team on the ground will be looking at education for women in particular, what those women and young girls are up against now, and she'll have more of that special coverage from Kabul in the days to come.
Indeed. Meantime, calls to regulate Facebook are getting louder, especially after today's whistleblower testimony.
I saw Facebook repeatedly encounter conflicts between its own profits and our safety.
And she's not the only Facebook employee to speak out. Coming up, a conversation with another whistleblower and a media expert on how to rein in the social media giant.
Is causing teenagers to be exposed to more anorexia content. It is pulling families apart. And in places like Ethiopia, it's literally fanning ethnic violence.
That's Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen testifying before a U.S. Senate panel today, calling her former employer's products dangerous and toxic. She pointed specifically to its algorithms, driving users to more and more extreme content, and she urged lawmakers to intervene. Now, we've heard calls to regulate Facebook before, but is it possible? And if so, what would it look like? Let's bring in two experts to explore that. A former Facebook data scientist who blew the whistle about fake accounts used by political parties abroad, Sophie Jung, and media and public policy expert Joan Donovan. So, Sophie, maybe I'll start with you if I could. I mean, you know, we heard a lot of talk today about the need for oversight, but also this more severe idea of breaking up Facebook itself, which of course includes Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, you know, too much power over dialogue and communication in the hands of a single profit-driven entity. You've been on the inside. At this point, in your mind, what is the way forward?
I think the way forward is more oversight. And then where people have suggested breaking up Facebook, as you said, but breaking up Facebook by itself won't solve the issues at hand. It's essentially an orthogonal solution, because there's no guarantee that smaller companies will even have the resources that will devote them to solving the problems at hand.
In your mind, the issue there is internal, right? In the sense of moderation or the algorithms that sort of steer decisions around moderation.
Exactly. Like simply breaking them up while doing nothing else won't do anything to address those. We need essentially a multi-pronged solution that tackles this from multiple angles at the same time.
Joan, can I get your insight into this? Because we kept hearing this comparison today between big tech and big tobacco. Even the U.S. Surgeon General a couple of months ago, I believe it was, spoke of misinformation being a public health hazard, likening it to secondhand smoke. How should we understand the current state of affairs, the status quo?
Yeah, I've given testimony in front of Congress and the Senate using the very same analogies here about secondhand smoke. And so I think that as we think about this issue, and Sophie's very right, this is a global issue. So we need a very far-reaching task force that's going to understand, well, what will happen when Facebook is broken up, and what kind of services and public interest internet needs to be installed in different countries so that people don't lose service to this amazing thing that we've all built together collectively, but one company has really dominated, and at this stage needs to be regulated as different countries see fit.
Sophie, I've mentioned a couple times now that you've seen how it works from the inside, having worked at Facebook. Is there any hope for the problem to be solved from within?
I tried from my very start to solve the problem from within. When I found problems, I spoke to other teams. I spoke to middle management, to leadership, to everyone up to and including Guy Rosen, who's the vice president at Facebook. And I was a very low-level employee, so this was very unusual. And when that didn't work, I kept escalating it further, and when that didn't work, eventually I was told to stop. I was being fired. I offered to stay on unpaid as a volunteer through the U.S. 2020 elections because I thought it was important for me to do so. When that didn't work, I wrote my farewell memo to employees explaining the problems that I saw at hand and what the work I had done before departing. And when that didn't work, I spoke out publicly. And you might have seen that Facebook has criticized Frances today for speaking out about matters that she didn't personally work on. That is a common criticism of Facebook towards its critics. And it's for that reason that I tried very hard to speak out publicly only on the matters that I personally worked on, that I was the undisputable expert on, except Facebook decided to dispute it anyways.
Make this real clear for me. What would a clampdown, if there is to be one, on Facebook or even other companies like it, what would that actually look like to transform something that is driven by profit, it is a business, into something maybe driven by the public interest?
It's a good and it's a broad question, but I think part of it starts with having equal access to the infrastructure of the internet, which means we need broad public works programs that bring Wi-Fi to the public. And we also have to think about, well, what are the ways that people should be connected? And do we want one company to have so much power across so many different applications that hundreds of millions of people use to communicate? And I don't think that it's safe, not just for the US, but for the globe, to depend so much on one company. And so I do think that when we talk about having an internet in the public interest, what we're really talking about is what is the web, the World Wide Web that we deserve, and that will be built and funded with public money so that companies can't encroach on our rights and can't take away services that we need daily.
I want to thank you both for joining us tonight. Great discussion. Sophie Jung, a former Facebook employee turned whistleblower. Joan Donovan, the research director of the Harvard Kennedy School's Shorenstein Center on Media Politics and Public Policy. Thank you both so much.
Thank you very much.
Just ahead, Tom Cruise and NASA teamed up with a plan to make a movie in space, but someone just beat them to it.
And her producer-director, Klim Shipenko.
The space race playing out in Hollywood. Next. Welcome back. Russia has scored many firsts in space. First satellite, first human in orbit, first spacewalk. Now it is trying for one more, the first movie shot in space. Briar Stewart sets the scene.
Start.
Rocket launches are made for TV moments, but long before the countdown, this one was already a spectacle. A reality show documented Russia's search for a leading lady to star in the first feature film shot on the International Space Station. Yulia Peresild, a well-known Russian actress, was chosen after being tested in scenarios designed to simulate the force of takeoff and the weightlessness of space. Afterward, she and the director of the film were given a few months of cosmonaut training. We are prepared as well as it's possible to get prepared, she said. This is an experiment. She will be playing a surgeon who has to perform a life-saving operation on the International Space Station. A veteran cosmonaut is leading the mission, and time was of the essence. Because Tom Cruise and NASA are also reportedly pairing up to make a movie on the space station. So, like many of history's great missions, this one was driven by competition and pride. The movie and the reality show are all an attempt to drum up excitement around Russia's space program. There's even an online tool that lets you launch a rocket and fly it over your social media videos. But despite the cutesy gimmicks, there are some real concerns around this project. Some say it's at best a vanity project, at worst a distraction from legitimate space exploration.
So this is kind of, as Americans call it, low-hanging fruit. I am not the only one who is having this kind of, party pooper opinion.
It was a beautiful time, my time inside International Space Station.
Andrei Borisenko supports the idea of making movies in orbit. He spent months on the space station and says the first week of weightlessness can be the toughest. I've observed many on the space station, he said, and I can say there can really be some problems. But the team was all smiles when they arrived, describing the trip so far as a dream, as they started to get used to the idea of floating around their new movie set. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Moscow.
And now for something completely different, we introduce you to the Fat Bear Contest.
They estimated his weight to be about 1,400 pounds, so pretty significant.
It is an online contest that draws hundreds of thousands of viewers and voters as fans choose their favorite. We will tell you all about it next. Well, you could call it the Battle of the Bulge. Every year since 2014, hundreds of thousands of people tune in to a live stream from a national park in Alaska, and they vote for their favorite fattest bear. And for the fourth time, a portly 26-year-old bear named Otis took the crown. The internet's fascination with fat bears is our moment.
Started actually back in 2014, and it was just a singular day. It was just Fat Bear Tuesday. The following year, we decided to do it as a full week, and it's only just gained in popularity year after year. And I think it really started to take off during the pandemic because there are these live webcams there, and you can bring these bears into your home. Katmai National Park is located in Bristol Bay, which is the largest sustainable sockeye salmon run in the world, and it's wild. Because of these mass numbers of salmon, these bears are allowed to get so fat. There's a bunch of fan favorites. Otis, who is one of the older bears at Brooks Falls, and he has a very interesting way of fishing where he just kind of sits in one spot in the far end of Brooks Falls and just waits for the fish to come to him. He's got this nickname called the Zen Master Otis because he just takes his sweet time, and it works, very successful. These bears can get so big and are so happy because they're in a very pristine place.
I heard her say during the pandemic you can bring these bears into your home, and I thought, hell I can. Yeah. That's not. But I love how they have, personalities and characters that they've built around.
I like Otis. He started very skinny, but he's a very efficient fisherman.
Apparently.
And it works.
Yeah.
There you go. That is the national for October the 5th. Good night.
Good night.